back in 2006 when I was 16. I was very passionate about internet security. We started the first internet security company called Net Security Solutions. What I didn't realize is that I was A, too young for such a serious topic, B, it was way too early. Now it's a good time to start an internet security company.
Do you feel like Aqtos is clearly differentiated by the rest of the similar systems on the market, or it's getting harder and harder to just stand out of the crowd?
It's definitely getting harder to stand out from the crowd because the crowd is getting larger and larger.
Today's guest is someone who has been building in tech ecosystem for over 20 years, from creating one of the most recognized tech magazines in the region, IT.mk, to supporting communities, building products, and now building a SaaS company with Aqtos. Hi everyone, and here we are again into a new episode of Leaders of Growth podcast. I'm Milan Savov, CEO of SmartClick, where we help B2B SaaS companies solve two of the biggest growth challenges today. The first one is not showing in AI search, and the second one is dealing with the traffic drops that directly impacts qualified pipeline. Today's guest is someone who has been building in tech ecosystem for over 20 years, from creating one of the most recognized tech magazines in the region, IT.mk, to supporting communities, building products, and now building a SaaS company with Aqtos. So for everyone watching, comment below what's the one thing which you agree or disagree while listening Damjan, because I really believe that the discussion will be great. Damjan, as a first Macedonian startup founder into this podcast, I'm really glad to have you here. Welcome.
Glad to have that honor. Yeah.
Would you like to quickly introduce yourself for the people who is watching this?
So the best explanation I use to explain what I do is actually a tech entrepreneur who has been building in tech industry for more than 20 years now. The company I have is registered officially for 19 years this March, so it's been more than 20 years. Overall, that's the best explanation. I'm not a developer, I'm not a designer, I'm not a marketer, but I kind of go along all those fields, and that's kind of like my superpower, I would say.
I think that's great, because if you have a specialty with any of these, you will get involved too much in the things.
Yeah, but some days you want to get involved deep and kind of go into deep state on one problem, but the multitasking is a both, a curse and a benefit. So depends on how you want to take it.
So as you mentioned, you're over 20 years, so that's pretty long time in the industry, from the IT.mk now to Aqtos. Can you just explain how that journey actually started in the beginning?
So it started with neither of those, neither IT.mk or IWM network. It started with the first internet security company in Macedonia. Back in 2006, when I was 16, I was very passionate about internet security, about all those things happening. And back then, Macedonia was very, very badly positioned in the field of both the region, not only Macedonia, the entire region was very bad position into cybersecurity threats and kind of like scamming and things like that. This is the early days of the internet, right? So not that early, but not that late. So we, together with a few other friends, we started the first internet security company called Net Security Solutions, and that was our initial kind of let's go into business. What I didn't realize is that I was A, too young for such a serious topic, B, it was way too early. Now it's a good time to start an internet security company. Back then it was way, way, way too early. So after that kind of things positioned, we closed the company after 2 years. We didn't saw any traction, but one thing led to another, kind of like a domino effect. What happened is, to promote the company Net Security Solutions, we started an online magazine. I don't know if you remember those PDF flips, kind of.
Yeah, of course.
And other programs. So we created an online magazine called IT.sec, IT security kind of concept, where we interviewed and talked about IT security in order to promote and educate So we did a very big interviews back then, even like interviewing Kevin Mitnick, one of the most famous hackers in the world. I was studying in the States back then, so I was traveling in Macedonia and States. So we interviewed him, Winton Cerf, the father of the internet, and things like that. So after we closed the company, that passion of hey, content is the king was kind of like a
Yeah.
object. So okay, let's continue this in some format. We didn't know what format, and because after 2 years the energy was spent, kind of like the team fell
Yeah,
apart.
yeah, yeah.
So I still stayed, got the domain it.mk because somebody didn't renew it. And then I was like, okay, what is missing is like-minded conversations of
Yeah,
some
yeah.
people. So we initially started a forum, just a forum, no portal, no big concept of, hey, let's make this a big thing, media, la la la, because media was not big then. Digital media
Yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So 2007, we started it.mk as a forum. And 2008, in the first year, it had about like 250,000 visits, I think,
Wow.
just the forum. So there was a lot of discussions, a lot of engagement, a lot of enthusiasm. So when we kind of closed off the company and said this is not happening, the net security solutions in 2008, we were like, okay, what to do next? So then me and part of the other team formed. I was a pusher, let's say, in the direction of like, let's stay in the media field and see if this is something to explore.
Mm.
So we kind of created it.mk as a more serious media, not a kind of like the forum was the discussion, the community, but
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
a content layer on top, like a
yeah.
professional content. I made one terrible mistake back then, looking from this perspective, but not for my personal growth. It was a
Mhm.
mistake, but from the potential, but for the community building, it was not a mistake. Let's put it like that. The idea was it.mk got very professional looking. It was one of the first online media in Macedonia that had
Yeah,
impressum, privacy policy, terms of use, who the authors are, kind of like everything was not copy pasted, but like there was content development
yeah,
happening.
yeah.
And that was tied with the community, so it was working very well together, but money was nowhere to be seen.
Mm.
The first year we made something like 60, $70 or off of
It's not
one ad.
sustainable as a business.
Yeah, so the traffic was spiking, but there was no ad platform supporting Macedonia. There was no kind of digital media buying budgets. It was everything going back to TV, radio back then.
Yeah, yeah.
So the domino continues now, and net security to it.mk. Now we were like, okay, let's keep the media, but let's make
Do
some
something
money
else.
for living, and that's how kind of naturally IWM Network was born. It was initially planned to be a company that's going to be interactive web media network, kind of like a
Mhm.
network of
Yeah.
portals, let's say, of digital media outlets. One to be IT, one to be gaming, one to be sport, and this is back when there were no a lot of media, digital media outlets.
Yeah.
So we even wanted to start something like called ITTV and kind of do digital television or some form of podcasting even back then
Yeah.
that is not very popular. But that one thing led to another, and we couldn't make money off of it.mk because the market was immature. There was interest, but there was no business interest, let's put it like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we shifted to what we know to do best, digital transformation. We try to label it as from web design development, SEO to, I don't know, digital lead generations to social media campaigning afterwards to strategies, infrastructure, security,
Everything.
kind of tied together. So we were like, okay, this is the field that we feel comfortable of, and that started going.
That's great. So if I understand you well, you just built the magazine just by intuition, adding one layer on top of everything, but it doesn't actually convert it into money, and then you decide to open another company to serve people with this digital transformation services back then.
We were forced to. I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
ideally wanted to make money. I would ideally wanted to make money off of digital media and leave off because the market was very small, very immature. That's why I'm saying it was a mistake for my personal growth to kind of say, okay, I'm gonna build a Macedonian
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or something like that, right? There
And
was
did,
no
did
startup.
you expect like becoming the IT.mk, the thing which is today, back then?
it immediately became something. Like even the first year when it was just formed became something because
Yeah.
people, like I said, 250,000 visits without advertising, and we were immediately open for we have to collaborate in the ecosystem because
Yeah.
back then there was a Macedonian magazine called Enter.
Yeah.
So we were like, they are not competitors. Let's work together. So we approached them and we exchanged content immediately with them. It was not a mindset of we're gonna crush them. They're the competition. No, let's all work together because growing the ecosystem again. This is the year when like 10,000 euros were given to startups, and that was promoted to be like a lot of money to be given to
Mm.
a tech idea. So,
Yeah.
talking in the region, even VCs from other now big VCs were giving like 20, 30,000 euros as big checks. So this is the kind of like the foundational models of the startup ecosystem in the region, and seeing that is actually what kept me pushing with IT.mk for the years because it remained not really profitable for 15 years. It's profitable
Yeah.
in 5. So it kept pushing because it was growing and you could see the benefits. You could see if people reading or complaining about something. There were a few initiatives where we the traditional media doesn't understand technology and they don't invest in understanding of technology to get a journalist who's going to be tech, who's
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
dealing with that. So there was really a need for a voice when things get complicated, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So you just continue just to contribute to the community more and more, so they get more benefit, and like that was like the domino effect of the previous
yeah, and
work and
it
popularity
was,
which it gets.
to be honest, it was interchangeable because
Yeah,
the community was also giving back to the company because the
yeah,
company
yeah,
was created to support the media business. But when we see the media business was not happening on a larger scale, we shifted towards consultancy and service model. That model, what it did is, I'm very proud of this statement. I even put it in some presentations. Is IWM Network has never spent a single dollar advertising, nor has ever had a digital, like, IT.mk has on average 1.2 million visits a year for the past 10, 15 years. So
yeah,
we have
yeah,
never put a banner ad saying IWM Network does this, IWM Network does that. Never. It only stays there as publisher IWM Network. So we kind of
yeah.
stayed on the low, but clients were coming in because IT
Mm.
would make some good intros. They would understand and appreciate IT.mk as, hey, we know what this is, we like it, we support it, and
Yeah,
then like
yeah,
it was easier to sell the service. So it was kind of like
yeah, 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 yeah.
not really measurable in a P&L statement, but it was functional in a real
Can
world.
can you tell me more about your switch as a founder? How did you actually did that transition from running a magazine and then operating with a consultancy company who serve multiple digital services without you having experience in any of this?
So the experience part let's put it like this. I was gaining experience because I was working as an interactive marketing consultant for a New York-based agency for 7 years. On
Mhm.
kind of like I was having split personalities. Let's put it like that. I was working for bigger clients, like even Lufthansa digital campaigns in New York for I don't know Diesel and
Mm.
even Michelin star chefs and American banks and things like that. So that was where I was seeing the progress and the potential that technology had. So at one point in my journey, I was studying in the States and I was running the business here, coming back forward, back forward. I was even offered to stay in the States through some multiple connections of job
Yeah.
sponsoring the and everything like that. But the problem with that was I was seeing the potential that the technology is bringing to the States with the e-commerce, with social media, and that all of that was booming
Yeah.
SEO wise. While the region and Southeast Europe and overall Europe was like
Yeah.
five
Yeah.
years behind that. Now it's catching up, but it was like 5 years behind it. So you would say, yeah, but I could sell this here. So there was that, and there was of course family and all those concerns.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I made the transition where like I saw what was happening, came, applied that. It was too early initially, so it took a while until SEO can be a serious topic, as you know. Even nowadays
Yeah.
in the region, you have to kind of define and defend it. The transition between running a media, I ran IT.mk for 16 years. So kind of like being the editor in chief, and while also doing the service, it was not easy having those kind of split personalities, but it was one I was looking at as a side project. So IT.mk was a fun
Mm.
side project I would work on, but then the business was business. And one thing that really helped is the business side had long-term clients. So
Yeah.
we work with clients, I don't know, Telecom Austria Group for 15 years now. So like you when you get a client, you get in a flow, but like one of the most demanding things on a client journey is the initial
Yeah.
start, how to get understanding, how me and you can connect on a level of I need to understand who you are, you need to understand
Until
what.
you get the trust.
Yeah, until you get the
Yeah.
trust. So one thing that really helped is working with long-term clients who were actually you had understanding of what needs to be done.
Yeah. And right now, as I know, you're also running Aqtos. So
So then I
how
made a bigger
how that
shift.
started?
Then I made a bigger shift. There is a XKCD. I don't know if you know the comics. XKCD. There is one comic where it says uh, there is a corporate building and one guy climbing the rope over the window and knocking on the window and saying, "Hey, you know those people who say, may you have an interesting life to be a curse." Fuck those people. Let's have an adventure. So the service side was running well. There was a potential, but what happened in COVID? Um, I saw, I s- so where things connect for me is in through IT.mk. You see the response of the industry. You get information. People talk to you. You get kind of sense of how people are feeling. Through the service part, you actually see the real B2B side among the industry. And then what I was starting to see is uh, COVID happened. Everybody went into IT. There was requalification.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was digital is the next big thing. Money was throwing around, and things were happening on that front. But also over the years, 2021, 2022, we started getting less new requests for
Mhm.
services, but more requests for, hey, this guy freelancer did not finish my project, or I'm
Mm.
not satisfied, or this company didn't dragged it too long. And it kind of like it was happening where like work from home was affecting productivity,
Yeah.
big salary and constant changes of people jumping from one company to another for small amounts of money just because they don't have bananas or chia pudding.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that led towards kind of like a drop in productivity of the entire industry. Google could not return people at work, right? Google, who has chefs in their offices, cannot bring their people back. Why? Because they feel more comfortable working from home. But that work from home also created disconnect between
Yeah.
people, between communication. Me and you would be having completely different conversation if we were in person. We have this. It's a benefit. It's a blessing to have it digital, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
there is something happening in real communication that doesn't happen through digital channels. So what I started seeing that, and I started going back to my mind 10 years ago when I tried to create for my own company. I tried to create a system to organize everything. We were not, at the best, we were like 30 something people. We were not looking into getting, I don't know, Dynamics, Microsoft Dynamics, SAP, or Bamboo HR for this or that, because we were not recruiting every day. We were not
Yeah. Yeah.
doing, I don't know, financial results every quarter or things like that. So we didn't need a big system. We needed something that had everything, but didn't kind of like overwhelmed the operators of the company to have all of that. So I started initially to create it myself for the company. There was few iterations, but it was a side project. The client work would
Yeah.
come,
Yeah.
you would just put it aside,
Put it
put it
away. Yeah. As usual.
so, yeah, as usual. And then two things happened in my professional career that kind of opened my eyes. Is on the professional side, we worked 2017. We got like the biggest project we ever worked as a company.
Mm.
We created a centralized crypto exchange for Wall Street Investment Bank.
Mm.
It was one of the biggest projects we worked on. Um, it had like all the elements. you have to have security, stability, real-time uptime. It had to work. It was microservice infrastructure. So we worked for that for a year and something, year and a few months. Uh, and then we finished the project. We didn't want it to do support because I don't want it to grow in a scale of unscalable certain
Yeah.
positions. So we only do support for few chosen clients, but kind of hand off the support to other. We can train your team, we can do everything, but we don't offer 24/7 support for something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Because it's hard enough to wake up, that guy in Japan, that guy in Dubai and in
Yeah.
Europe
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
using
Exactly.
the
Exactly.
same information you have. It's a very big challenge. So um, after we finished the project, handed off, I was like exhausted, kind of like the burnout, let's put it like that. And you were like,
Mhm.
okay, then there is potential, there is money, things are happening, but what are we doing? Now we have to run another cycle, another project for such, in order to grow. We got an offer to be acqui-hire that made me sit down and do the numbers. Where like they were looking into acqui-hiring stuff, and we sat down to do the actual numbers of who we are, what we do, and how we are growing. And you see a constant growth, but like small percentage growth
Yeah.
year
Yeah.
over year. It's a nice chart looking from far, but in reality, if you wanted to grow 100 times, you would have to hire more people. So it was
Yeah.
not scalable solution because um,
Or raise
personally,
your prices.
yeah, or raise the prices. But the thing was, with online happening and everybody going into online, prices were declining because everybody was offering a service. So you had a lot of people who stayed at home over
Yeah.
COVID
Yeah.
who actually shifted to digital. So there was a lot of noise. So it was hard to sell the right quality without extra effort. And then on the end of the day, you still had people as a factor who are unpredictable, who are not really scalable, let's put it like that, where like
Yeah. Yeah.
if I had to grow the business, I would have to go with 100, 150, 200 people.
Mm.
I look at people differently. People that stayed with the company are currently on the team. We have people staying for 10, 15, 12, 13 years. It's not like somebody who constantly rotates because also the
Yeah.
quality.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me just try to summarize by now because I'm like connecting the dots
Yeah,
with
I'm
you.
complicated.
First, you mentioned that you started building the system because of your own needs. Then, because of COVID, some companies just give you like validation that, okay, this is something which is missing on the market by you listening to their needs and what's happening on the market. And then the crypto exchange who has all of these features in behind, but actually after that was not scalable. And after like these three things, putting them together, it's the product which is right now. Not
Not,
the
not,
whole
not,
thing,
yeah,
but the
okay.
story, the story.
For just to connect, so we did the exchange. It was not our project. We serviced that. So it was for one of the
Yeah, but you
main.
get again the validation that okay, this is something which we can maybe use part of it into the product plus our needs plus.
No, no, no. That was not applied to the product. It was a completely separate project. What it
Aha,
gave me,
okay.
what the market gave me understanding is that service is dying down as a profitable
Aha,
business.
okay,
So
okay.
I was starting to see after the burnout, I was kind of looking through
Mhm.
different eyes. Personally, I also got family, kids, and that makes you kind of change mindsets. So when we finished the exchange 2018, 2019, I don't know what the exact month was. I was starting to see, okay, let's continue with service, right? We're ground, but I was dealing with some burnout that I was making me look into things. The acqui-hire offer came, made me look into the numbers a little bit from a different perspective, and on the end of the day, you understand that after 15 years back then working in service, you have nothing in an essence of IP, in an
Asset.
essence of upsell, in an effort. Even if you were acqui-hired, the acquisition is not the right word. I really hate it when companies say, "Oh, we got acquired." You got acqui-hired because they gave you some money to recruit you, and that's a good statement. But you still have to
Yeah,
work in order to earn. It's not
pure.
a earn out where like you sell the company and you
Yeah, yeah.
so the thing that made me look into different what is happening. I was looking at the problematic salaries were also going crazy high in IT, like unsustainably high, even in the region. So we even helped a few other companies from New York recruit here, and they would come and recruit people, and they would finish the conversation, the interviews with like, I could hire for the same amount of money people in New York. Why am I coming here? So the people can argue, yeah, but we have quality, sure,
Yeah.
but the milk, price of milk and bread is different than the price of milk and bread here. So there is like different levels of living expenses and expectations. So that pushed me to the direction, okay, I have to move from services. What I have to do is find a project that I really believe in, I have kind of strong feelings about it, and kind of do it right, and try to make it scalable. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the transition kind of like that made me, okay, services. Now I'm going to transition towards the product. And Aptos was a product sitting in our drawer for with few iterations before that. We needed it internally. We talked with other companies all over the years that also needed it. So it
Yeah.
kind of was
Yeah.
a
Yeah. Yeah.
natural growth stand for that point.
But I'm really interested here because previously, when you build the company, the IVM network, the name on IT.mk bring you a lot of customers because of that. How do you think about positioning right now? How do you position the new company, the new SaaS product? Because it's maybe you still have some community there, but it's not all the people who actually will use the product, the new
Oh, it's
product.
a different community
Yeah.
because the Macedonia IT.mk is a local kind of local and regional, let's put it, effort, while this is a global try attempt at a global scale.
Yeah,
Because
what's like the biggest learning about building and positioning that product compared to building and positioning the IVM network company?
so it's different when there is an expression I use almost in every interview and everything like that. It's very easy to be first in your own village, right? Like when it's easy to be when people know you or you have some
Yeah.
warm productions. It's easy to be the first in the village. So if we were positioning Aqtos as a Macedonian only tool that is a business operating system for companies here, it will be easier with the tools that we have. But the challenge I wanted to take is a little bit bigger. I might fail at it completely. I am fully aware of the risks, but I wanted to attempt at a global scale what to do. So that's nobody knows about the community efforts, the years I spent building
Yeah,
when they
yeah.
see Aqtos. So it was a very big challenge how to position that, and it's still a challenge because Aqtos is in the early stages of the growth. So we announced it 2024. Before that, I even had to close some client relationship and push them towards closure, long-standing client relationship who were paying our bills and were profitable for us in order to free up time to do Actos. So the positioning is very challenging, especially with the AI noise happening right now.
Yeah, it's becoming even more competitive everywhere. So that's what I try to learn here. How do you think about that? Do you feel like Actos is clearly differentiated by the rest of the similar systems on the market, or it's getting harder and harder to just stand out of the crowd?
It's definitely getting harder to stand out from the crowd because the crowd is getting larger and larger. So how to be one of the trees that are actually storyboard in the forest of trees, right? So now with a vibe coding, everybody can make
Yeah.
a product that looks like a product. Everything can copy very fast and everything can do anything, right? In a product sense. My personal standpoint of that is also going back, understanding I was too early with few stages in my professional journey, making decisions way too early and then losing the energy when the market came. I'm kind of pacing this one rightly because I'll give you a simple example. 3 years ago, when we talked to VCs about investing in Actos, they were telling me, no, this is the wrong approach. Some of them, not all of them, some of them, this
Yeah.
is the wrong approach. You cannot go into building an all around system for business, specialize in one, specialized to be a CRM, specialized to be a sales pipeline, specialized to be a project management tool. But fast forward 3 years, I stayed kind of stubborn on that topic, not sure. I believed in something else, but like what happened is
Yeah.
right now, what is happening is everybody can do a CRM. If you need
Yeah.
a single stand CRM, you can build it yourself or you can hire somebody to build it. But right now, the challenge is becoming in order for AI as an operational layer to work good, they need a condensed data and kind of unified data layer. So that unified data layer can come from a what we call a business operating system, where like you have
Yeah.
all your CRMs, invoices, expenses, project management in one database, and then you add the layer that is actually functional. It can be external, Claude, OpenAI, whatever. It can be internal. So how I see it on this standpoint is trust and trust is going to be a very big factor in the upcoming years. Building trust, building kind of reliability. It's always been in business, but like now it's going to be even more crucial because everybody's selling everything. You remember the days 7, 8 years ago when everybody was selling websites, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
teams were $19 a team, and everybody can have a website, and then like the prices of website went down, the website development. But what that happened is whoever is serious about running some serious website with good SEO positioning and everything, they can't rely on a team with like 10,000 additional lines of code. It needs to be cleaned up, customized, and everything like that. We stayed with that belief in the services business, IBM network, forever. We never built with teams. We built with like hardcore, crucial quality development, and that has given us very big benefit on the SEO front over the upcoming years and on the security front for websites. So I think the same thing is happening with AI right now, even though it's unseen in history of that kind of growth, that kind of expansion and noise. But I think it's gonna stabilize and people are gonna start seeing, okay, I now need a real tool. They're gonna see, and it's good for educational purposes. Everybody's gonna
Yeah.
understand and be educated. But I think it's gonna be coming down to basic human instincts of I need something I can trust, especially for B2B senses. I need somebody who's reliable. Reliability will become a very big important.
Yeah, and for me personally, that's maybe the most difficult thing to present in advance because once you have a contact, once you start working, it's easy to show that your expertise and gaining the trust. And this is like a challenge for me how to show that in advance so they just start interacting with you. Do you ever think about that?
Right now, for example, skills are not, I would say, that important on the sales front because everybody can simulate skills. They can open
Yeah,
another screen, like I can talk with you while ChatGPT is generating me a real
those
transcript on the side,
questions.
right?
Yeah,
So, so everybody can simulate the skills, but I think again, uh, it's a new, undefined, uncharted territory that we are getting into. How it's gonna play out is still something trust for me. Like from my view side, I see trust as a big word in on all those
yeah,
areas. Like, and how to gain that is sadly on a slower pace and kind of be careful with everything because just this morning there was a OpenAI, I don't know, vulnerability in the Mac app. So like everybody's growing, and I use a term. Even I'm going to be talking in a month on a conference about a FAFO, is a fuck around to find out kind of concept. Well, you have to approach with like step by step. Roles are disappearing, roles
yeah,
are appearing, SEO is changing, Google is being substituted with ChatGPT, but there's also this early adopter curse.
yeah,
We
yeah.
are early adopters, and if we think we love technology and we think everybody else is on the same level, it's not. When you see all your entire LinkedIn feed of everybody building with Claude code and everybody building with Claude AI skills, and I did this, I automated that. What happens when that automation breaks, right? Riverside is a
Exactly. Yeah,
multi-million
we just
company,
had an issue.
and we had to restart this podcast 3 times because it had a Safari issue. So I think focus on quality is the next kind of like
Yeah.
a top layer because massive massive upsell of just service of just whatever it is can be done by agents now.
Yeah, okay. I will get back to the AI. I just want to uncover one thing which is pretty interesting for me right now, especially. How do you how do you decide where to put your focus while running the agency and building the product?
So I shifted 2024. I had a year and a half of preparations with clients and everything like that. And like I said, I had to let go of some clients in order to free up time. And the agency is run more by partners. There are people who are on the partner level in the company who are running the service more, and I'm supporting them. While my main focus becomes
The product.
the product. So that change happened January 2024, and it took a year before that
So
to
it was
get.
like a strategic move for you with the preparations in behind
Yeah, it
until
was
you
hard. It was
completely.
very, very hard because you had to also kind of like change your mindset the most. You had to give the trust to clients that they're gonna keep the same service, because people like to see some showmanship, even though the same people doing the service are doing the service. And the shift was not easy. There is still like more 90% of my time is going towards the product, the development of it, but also I'm pacing that one. A year, almost, no, a few months ago, we decided we're gonna stay bootstrapped. One of the reasons being we couldn't raise a decent amount. We couldn't find a VC who understands the vision and everything like that. Some of them were declaring us a bad idea, so it's fine. All of that is fine, but like even that kind of put us on a slower pace because we also want to build an AI layer in the
Yeah,
company. We
yeah.
have the technical know-how, but like a real AI layer that's going to be used, not a wrapper around all of this. So that takes time. Even you have Claude and OpenAI with billions of dollars still experimenting and shutting down and doing
Yeah,
and
yeah.
pivoting. But what there is also too much noise. To be very honest, one of the biggest challenges, there's too much noise because everybody is claiming everything now. Whatever you can think of as a product, as a feature, everybody just, can say, "Oh,
Doing
I
it.
found it. I can vibe code this." And then there is this change, and economy is not helping. People are not spending a lot, which helps for us because we are a consolidation tool. We
Yeah,
substitute six
yeah.
or seven tools. So the bet we made 2 years ago, where the industry is going, is helping us. So things are moving in the right direction. Like for example, you can explore this Google Trends and everything. Business operating system as a keyword is exploding these 2 years. While we've been talking, we tried to
Yeah,
trademark
yeah.
that keyword 5 years ago. We couldn't because it's a general keyword. But things are moving in the right direction of a product. I really believe whoever builds a good quality product in this era, in this, let's say, current state of my market, is going to benefit from the upcoming change in the market. Because it's a bubble. It's definitely a bubble. We saw it with crypto. Nobody talks about crypto and blockchain right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
It's still a multi-billion dollar, industry that functions. But nobody's obsessed with crypto as it was. Everybody's obsessed with AI. Twitter is crazy on AI automations and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And when you
But
said, when you said,
benefit.
yeah, thanks for clarifying this. I think I have better understanding how you actually did all of this transition, which was pretty interesting for me. But when you said that the word business operating system is exploding in the past 2 years, so it was not even popular back then, or
It
what
was
are
more
your thoughts
theoretical.
about how?
We didn't invent the keyword. The keyword is back, I don't know, 30, 40 years. Toyota and, manufacturing process calls a business operating system. But it's a very good definition of what we are building because every company needs a business operating system on a level of how do they do things.
Have you
So
ever thought how they search about that when they are
that's
looking
what
for?
we are in the state of figuring it out because, for example, still the search intent for business operating system is educational wise.
Yeah, yeah,
Have a lot of what this is, people are defining it.
yeah,
Business OS, for example, OS as a shortage is more intent based of looking for specific things. And now I think things are happening. We are still exploring kind of like old channels, SEO. We
yeah,
are very
yeah,
big believers in SEO, AIO, whatever you want to call it. It's still people are searching for information, getting the right information
yeah.
back. So the to explain the intent is we are trying to figure out what is the most converting business operating system currently is bringing traffic, but more on the educational side.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm hearing you. You mentioned a couple of times pacing, slower, slowly developing the product. And on the other side, there are people who you mentioned that are building things fast. So, do you maybe think that you're leaving some growth on the table because of just trying to like build it naturally and slowly? And on the other side, there are guys who maybe just are trying, getting feedback, then iterating, but with more bigger speed.
So there is a bullshit answer I can give you to this, who's gonna make me sound good, and there is an honest answer. I'm gonna
The
opt in
honest one.
for the honest answer. Um, so when we took off that VC money are not fitting, the VCs that we talk to are not fit into our current state of mind, we kind of liberated ourselves of the pace. We are not interested into showing you a graph that goes like this and then falls down. Like I would rather have a slowly growing graph that constantly grows in an essence of stable users because we have a sticky product.
Yeah.
If I make you use Actos as your own business operating system in your company, you would stay for a few years with us, at least. So I'm interested in companies that have a real need, and finding the ICP is a hard thing. You're searching in a mountain in a forest of what's the right tree that you're going to be talking to. But the idea is the pace dictates also the market where we are not competing on a product scale of, hey, here is this here and here is this. We're competing on also like ideological level of how companies should be operating. So that takes a little bit of concept
Like
of
additional business layer to the companies.
it's digital transformation in practical use. So what we used 20 years in running service, we are now bringing into a tool for your company. There are examples where like you have companies who are growing crazy fast, and that's market conditions, luck, network, whatever it is. It's not that we would not want to have like a hockey chart of users. It's like we are being realistic about what we can do with what we have and pacing it to build it. We changed few things, testing, the onboarding was bad, then we changed it, we did this, we did that. We are learning from customers who are actually using the product, and then we are not trying to do a survivorship bias where we only take from clients who are they're solving their own needs, but we are also changing the ICPs to see how this group is using versus this group. That takes time. And the development is also, the noise is also making us don't push fast because I'm expecting it to deflate a bit and then to grow. We're gaining step by step visibility. We are activating channels. We are moving in the direction, but not doing that because we are also pacing the energy that we have. In an essence of, it's a marathon. You don't want to sprint. Let's say if I was 20 something, I might be looking like this at a sprint, where like I would want to sell this immediately or build it and change it and all of that. But the honest answer that I opted in to say is also, I still want to spend time with my kids. In the night, I want to have a quality life. It's not like Jeff Bezos don't call it work-life balance. It's work-life harmony, where those are interconnected. So that also dictates how much we are pushing, but it doesn't mean that I don't want this to grow big and at scale. Although, for example, ODOO, which is kind of like we are in that field, took 20 years to reach a 500 million market a month. I think there are like 500 or 600 million MRR right now, but it took them 20 years. And I don't know what I'm talking about most of the time on this topic. I'm just sharing my kind of opinions.
The answer which you give me is really great, and this is I also agree with, because I've seen a lot of examples where they're just trying to push it harder, to push it faster, but they do a lot of mistakes. Even there is a cases when a huge investment could happen, but then they usually don't know how to actually use it because they will hire a lot of people. They don't have systems behind to hire the proper people, the proper team, just trying to rush the things out. So I think you're on the right way. Uh,
But I would just correct you. There is no right or wrong way.
yeah, yeah,
It's a
just right for
individual. We
individual.
I love how people say the formula for success, right?
Yeah,
Everybody has an individual formula,
different
right?
different definition of success.
Exactly, but it's also like different conditions. My
Yeah,
conditions, my environment, my network is not the network
exactly.
of somebody else. So like even, you know, you have to look at this as there is no formula. So like I really don't respect the schools of thought where like you
Yeah,
have to do this because I did it. No, you did it in a
yeah,
different
yeah,
time, with
exactly.
different network, with different mindset, with different concepts, right? So everybody should be pacing. There is learnings from everybody, but like you should take it and apply it to your own state of mind. And I want to build a legacy with Actos. I don't want to build a
Yeah, yeah,
product that's going to make me, 1 month in MRR and it's going to crash after 5 months. But I
yeah,
really want to build something big. That's my wish. I'm deciding to go, and people are saying me that's right. People are saying me that's wrong. So you
yeah,
you
exactly,
you
exactly. So we're getting to the end of this podcast. I think we're recording around 50 minutes. Uh, do you have like some bigger vision for Actos? What's your plans for the coming year or two?
Aqtos is a massive, massive project. It has a kind of like a modern business operating system as a tool that unifies project management, HR,
Mm.
recruiting, task management, financial, invoice, expense management, everything on one layer. That's the consolidation of the data. Then the second layer is data, where below that there is data where like everything is getting enriched and everything you
Yeah,
don't have to
yeah.
figure out what the banks are in, I don't know, in Japan, in
Mm.
the States. It feeds you that market data. And on top there is AI because we have that consolidated data, we have the market data, and then AI, and that functions. And then you choose how you want to use it. Do you want to use a chat interface to organize your company? Do you want to use Actos as a UI to go and click through that? It's your choice. My goal is kind of like the future of work kind of concept because we are still relying in an industry of project management in a business management software. There is
Yeah,
still 20 years old software from Basecamp to Asana to
yeah, yeah.
Trello to Jira, everything. There is no big innovation. ClickUp, for example, raised $500 million to try to revolutionize this and move the needle a little bit, or a lot, depending on point of view. But I really see a future where things are going to get consolidated a little bit more
Yeah.
because there is a need for it because AI is going to requesting single source of truth. And my vision is to have a good, stable product that I can be proud of, not just something that makes money.
That's great. I have one more last question, and if you think you missed something to share, you can also add it. Looking back, what's like one decision which changed everything for you?
Positively or negatively?
The biggest lesson.
The biggest less in business wise?
Whatever you think is good to share,
Uh,
so others can learn about that.
to be to be frank, I don't look back that much because I'm afraid to look in the past from all those mistakes. But like I made a lot of mistakes and I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes. I don't deny that. Um, I don't know. Focusing too much on the local market initially kind of will put me in, like I said, in a personal growth disadvantage a little bit. But the
Hmm.
times were different back then.
Yeah.
So if I was kind of more braver or had a little bit more push from somebody on that side, it's like,
Mm.
oh yeah, somebody helped me. No, it's like if I had understood the globalization of
Hmm.
of the markets and all everything that's coming much more than the theoretical level, I would have initially built earlier on that stage.
Mm.
So also comfort zone is very bad. So
So
actually,
attacking the global markets from
yeah, getting
very
earlier in the global market, even again being last in the city is better than being first in the village.
yeah.
I mean doesn't mean that I'm
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
my personal point of view.
That's the point of the podcast. Just share your thoughts. So if anyone
But
is just
growth, right? When we say,
recognizing in the story can
yeah,
relate
but
to
that's a
this.
growth stage where like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have to grow,
Different for
and
everyone.
growth is the only concept that kind of you have to keep evolving.
Yeah, Damian, this was really interesting conversation, and thank you for spending the time here with me in this around an hour. I really have nothing to add here. You were pretty honest with. I know you shared your real experience, no bullshit things, as
Yeah,
you said.
I tried
And
not to. Yes.
yeah, this is what really stood out to me, because the honesty is really the thing which I admire, when people just share it without trying to mask themselves behind something. So we're ending this episode. For everyone watching, and before you move on, just share with us what's the one thing from this episode which you're going to maybe apply this week. So you can drop it in comments, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like this video. I'm Milan Savov, and until next time, keep leading, keep scaling, and keep growing. Bye bye.
Yeah, keep growing. Bye bye for me.